Hi folks, this is TenPoint's new Shadow NXT, and I'm here to tell you about it. First of all, I was curious what the legendary TenPoint company would do after now companies like Raven and even Mission with Matthews have ratcheted up the competition and really cut into TenPoint's former dominance of that really high-end market share and high-end crossbows. But I'll tell you what they've done. They've really come back and they're offering this powerhouse crossbow with a ton of features that have a lot of the features that make some of those other bows so good, yet they're offering this one for a little bit less price. This actually represents TenPoint's midline, which of course in the scheme of crossbows, that's still at the upper level. But you can get into this crossbow, have all the performance, and have this narrow width that I'm going to talk about for around $1,200, which again is much better than some of the $2,000 or even $2,500 price tags going on at the moment. But without further ado, let me get into it. First of all, the thing that most stands out about this TenPoint Shadow NXT is this narrow limb design. Sure, it does look Raven-esque at first, but they've obviously done enough that's different from Raven to procure their own patents. In a nutshell, let me tell you how this works. Rather than taking bus cables in the traditional style and slaving them to the cams and running them under the frame or under the barrel through the frame, they've slaved 4 bus cables, which they call Vortex quad cables, to either side and pin them to either side of this really robust riser. They run that through and then direct them back via this turnbuckle to each cam, and it does that on each side. Then of course the string is on the inside of the cam to increase the power stroke length without doing anything. But that's connected together so that those cables, so that those cams always stay in sync and in perfect time. But this does 3 things. Namely, 1, it eliminates that cable going under the barrel, so that eliminates the string slide, which mitigates, or if not eliminates, cable wear, so it enhances the life of the string and the cables. Secondly, whenever you have the cables pushing down to get under there with a string slide, that induces cam lean because that force pulls those cables down. So with this, there's none of that downward force. So without cam lean, it's inherently more accurate. And third, because of the orientation of these cables, that flexes these limbs in, and that drastically reduces the width of the bow. And I think that's probably the most important thing here. After all, I've often said and written that the worst thing to me about a crossbow is its unwieldiness. They're hard to carry and lug in the woods. That's because they have to be long, they're deep, and most of them are very wide, but this thing really does a lot to mitigate that width and makes it much easier to carry. I'll cock it here in a minute, but this thing is 6 inches axle to axle, which is incredible. So they did all this and they still keep what TenPoint is known for, and that's just its quality. It's hard to describe it when you pick this thing up and you shoot it. Nothing rattles, everything fits. The parts, the polymer frame that's been infused with glass is warm to the touch, but it's very rigid. Just everything is well made. That's made in America, assembled in America by people who care. Somebody signs their name off when they assemble this. It comes ready to shoot from the package. All you have to add is broadheads, and that's what TenPoint is known for. But moving back real quickly, it's got the great fire control system. Comes with this scope. That's pretty standard. I like this brush arrow retention system. It's much simpler than most, yet it does its job. Has very little friction. Very quiet safety. Now, one way that this bow kept down on some of its costs was it doesn't have all of the bells and whistles of some of the top-end TenPoints, but those bells and whistles I really don't think you need. I'd rather save the money, frankly. For example, it doesn't have an adjustable cheek piece. It's questionable how important that is. It doesn't have a butt pad. I don't really think that's important, but it has all the things that allow this thing to perform and shoot well. It doesn't have string stoppers either, so it's not TenPoint's quietest bow it's ever made, but it's certainly quiet enough. It measured about 99 on my informal sound meter. It produces velocities of 380, which will kill 380 feet per second, which will kill anything that I need to be shooting at. And what I like about this bow a lot, it's probably the quickest to load. That's because it comes with the AccuDraw 50 sled. If you choose that option, watch how fast this is.